I needed to make this video for 3 reasons. The first is to show all you new Path of Exile 2 players this 10-second clip right here of one of the earliest Path of Exile versions we've seen.
Hi, this is Chris from Grinding Gear Games. Welcome to Path of Exile 020 from late 2008. Here we've got some monsters. So I'm going to kill my first zombie.
The second is to highlight why we can rely on Path of Exile 2's huge promise. More on that in a moment. The third? Grinding Gear Games. It's a name some already place on the level of gaming industry legends like Larian Studios and From Software for Grinding Gear Games' old legendary game Path of Exile 1. Yet, in less than 24 hours, Grinding Gear Games shall release their second game ever. And with that launch, it's quite possible numerous others shall praise Grinding Gear Games, led currently by Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, into the annals of gaming legend. Please do note, this is with this latest release, Path of Exile 2, being in early access. Players are already stunned about Path of Exile 2's huge promise. They don't quite know what to do with themselves. Truly, it promises to be the next generation ARPG, a real generational game. I think it will be, easily. Why in the world would I state this? Why am I making this video? Am I just hoping way too hard? I reckon this video, which also showcases clips from every single era of Path of Exile 1 and 2, shall address all 3 questions. Between the raw numerical data, unprecedented hype levels across the internet, the constant top-selling game on Steam placement, literally all the gameplay we've seen about Path of Exile 2, and my raw gut feeling, I am more confident in this assertion that Path of Exile 2 Early Access will cement Grinding Gear Games as a top-tier developer now more than ever before. Even with the bugs we'll find, even with the broken builds we'll make, even with all the tiny violins we'll face, I am stoic in my statement. Grinding Gear Games has been grinding, and I am stalling, like all of you. One day, exiles. One day. Let's break everything down. Even without the exact numbers laid out, everyone has to know the raw data Path of Exile 2 is seeing is insane. The developers are expecting ridiculous numbers on day 1 of launch. At most, they expected similar numbers compared to even their largest League launch of all time, Settlers of Calgar, 350,000 on PC. Now, it's clear by the sales and the interest around Path of Exile 2 even pre-launch, they're going to see at least that, which is unexpected given it's an early access launch and it is not free to play. The cost of entry is $30 for most people, unless you're gifted a key. Grinding Gear Games seems to think 1 million players or more on day 1 is out of the question, with their load testing failing around 1.6 million players. I reckon we might just hit close to these numbers across all platforms, but we shall see. We're also seeing record-breaking numbers on YouTube videos about Path of Exile 2. The big outlier here, I'd say, is Darth Microtransaction, whose infotainment videos are racking up nearly as many views as his initial Diablo 4 launch hype videos from 2023 in a matter of days. These Path of Exile videos are the most successful of all time in such a short time span. This video scored 363,000 views in just 7 days. This one hit 254,000 views in just 2 days. And this one from yesterday is already at 182,000 views and counting. Personally, the channel is going berserk too. I am much smaller, but these analytics are truly wild. The channel is at 2.1 million views in the past 28 days. This is a graph of all of 2024. This is a lifetime graph. We're trending up. Not as high up as my friend Darth Microtransaction did during Diablo 4, but up nonetheless. The channel is going amazing. Thank you all so much. Well, speaking of Diablo 4 as well, one of the most fascinating data sets is the Google Trends of Path of Exile 2 versus Diablo 4 and Path of Exile. The reason for comparison is twofold, especially against Diablo 4. Both are isometric ARPGs, no matter what others might say, and both were or are incredibly hyped up. Don't Don't say it below. Don't say D4 bad exiles. Chill. We welcome everyone here. Now, let me spoil this for you. Diablo 4 has always trended higher, way higher on Google than Path of Exile 1 and 2 by really a massive margin. Always. Until today. Or more accurately, until November 21st, 2024. Yeah, it was totally this tweet right here that did it. I jest. Here's a 5-year look back. Now a 1-year look back. And now a 1-month look back. Don't worry, we'll zoom in more in about 20 seconds. The day of the Path of Exile 2 grand reveal livestream changed everything. Forever, Diablo 4 dwarfed Path of Exile 2. And why wouldn't it? The brand is much more recognizable, it's more accessible, and it is created by a company with a marketing budget the size of a small country. Remember, we were seeing banner ads in downtown New York City. However, just in the past 2 weeks, as the PoE-like Diablo 4 continues to slip, Path of Exile 2 has been rising and has now overtaken Diablo 4 in Google Trends. It's nowhere near Diablo 4's height of overtaking, but the fact it has overtaken it when Path of Exile never has is a sight to behold. Well, wait a second. Just you wait. If you look at the past 7 days, Path of Exile 1 has overtaken Diablo 4 for the first time ever. Holy wow. Could this be it? Could this be the turnaround? The time? We'll revisit a few months after release. I 100% know people will say this doesn't matter, that PoE2 is only just overtaking another game that has already been out for a year, and that is dying, but I see it as simply the first domino, a sign of a trend to come. If I'm wrong, so be it. But if I'm right... Long silence. Finally, there's this strand of stunning data. Path of Exile 2, despite not being out, and despite also having a standalone client, keeps tracking between the number 1 and number 5 on the list of Steam's best-selling games worldwide. Path of Exile 2, seriously, is a worldwide phenomenon. This is even during a discount season. This, again, is when the game isn't out. This is with the game also being on Xbox and PS5, alongside a standalone client I and many others use. It's awesome to see. We'll get to my final predictions soon, but we appear to be trending in quite the upward direction when it comes to people logging on launch day. If we distance ourselves from raw, hard, meaty, straight to the point if we walk away from direct facts and numbers and instead glance at the hype meters, well, every single one is off the charts. Grinding Gear Games paid some content creators to stream the Grinding Gear Games live reveal on November 21st, 2024. But beyond that, all this excitement and buzz has been organic. Jonathan Rogers, game director on PoE2, seems to be doing an interview a day. Creators from inside the ARPG niche genre are blasting out videos like never before. Creators from outside the ARPG genre are immersing themselves in all things Path of Exile, from trying the first game to just reacting to every single piece of Path of Exile 2 content out there. Heck, the hype levels are so high, even Fextra Life couldn't wait to ship his review of Path of Exile 2. This is a joke. I mean, when I logged onto YouTube a few days ago and saw the legendary drops thumbnail with "It's over" sprawled across it and the video title "Path of Exile 2 will shock the world," I just knew the hype levels had reached maximum. Avoid the Pubble is on this game. Dropped Frames did a podcast on it with Zizrin. Luality is on the hype train. Wolfheart FPS is super interested. Hells Below, every single Diablo faithful has broken rank to leash themselves to the absolutely zooming hype train that is Path of Exile 2. I've not seen a game hyped up this much before release, well, ever, but maybe I'm just sheltered. I know post-release games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring were incredibly well received and the hype levels there soared high above Mount Olympus, but beforehand? Maybe I just wasn't online enough or in the right spaces, but it appears Path of Exile 2 is making a mark, no pun intended, well maybe pun intended, everywhere. And there's a reason for that. One fat, raw reason. Here's the largest surprise and stunner of brand new Path of Exile players. It's the showcase of pure, real gameplay and not just cinematic shots or staged gameplay that's truly just beautiful trash. I think the word of this video is raw, but it's more than appropriate here. Gamers have a great idea of what they'll get when they play Path of Exile 2 based on how Grinding Gear Games showcases their game. They don't sugarcoat it with pure cinematics or highly curated encounters. Sure, we finally received our first true cinematic in the Path of Exile universe and it was wicked, but that's not what they're selling the game on. Grinding Gear Games is selling the game on it being a good game. They've poured their blood, sweat, and tears, their souls into crafting this excellent raw experience, top to bottom. And even they, admittedly, are not entirely convinced it is perfect, but they do know it is a good game, a great experience to behold. They've refined combat massively. They have in-game character customization systems that hook and reel you in. The music and sound effects are haunting. They pay attention to all the finer details. I mean, there's a shade playing a tiny violin on the death screen for you, throwing some serious shade your way when you die. They're just gamers and know and love their game and audience. It's refreshingly obvious and everyone is here for it. I see and hear no naysayers at this point in the present. And we must remember, this is only the beginning. Path of Exile 1 evolved for over a decade, as you've seen in the background footage of this video. Through times grand and tough, it changed, mostly for the better. Path of Exile 2 shall do the same. For what it's worth, there's also my gut feeling. I've been so darn excited for this game since I saw the original trailer back at ExileCon 2019, literally my second day of playing Path of Exile ever. Back then, I remember showing all my friends and family, putting it on the big screen after a few Dungeons and Dragons sessions and saying, "This is it. This is the next great game, everyone." Then we started this channel and hyped ourselves up about it amidst naysayers and people saying Path of Exile 2 would not be cool and it would not be fun. Well, here we are, on the precipice of greatness. And my gut tells me we're going to have an incredible time on December 6th and beyond. Or whenever us, the barbarians, break through the queue gates and actually play the game. Blessed exiles. Pray for the servers. I'll be live streaming the entire first day of early access on YouTube and Twitch drops and all, alongside daily videos here on the channel. Like the video if you liked it, share with your friends, subscribe and hit the bell for more unique Path of Exile 2 content just like this. I'll see you in the next video. Stay sane, my fellow exile.